All right, ladies and gentlemen, it is time for the main event. We are live here for the Division 1 Championship. It is round 11 here at the ISRL Esports Division 1 Championship. Like I said, it is time for the British Grand Prix. Ladies and gentlemen, hello and welcome. My name is Fallen Monkeys here, or Eric, as I've come to be known by, joined here in the booth by Jamie. And Jamie, how you doing here today? Excited for what we've got in store here and for the race here at Silverstone?
Yep, I'm very excited. Thank you. I'm good, thank you as well. Excited to be here at ISRL alongside you again, as we're at Silverstone, a venue where it's displayed so much action throughout the years of racing. You never know what Silverstone might stir up for us. We've witnessed before the great action here in the past around this 5.8 kilometer circuit.
Yep. Of course, you said it yourself. Filled with action, both here in the virtual world and, of course, the real life Grand Prix. I mean, even this past year's British Grand Prix alone, with the incident in Cop's Corner with two drivers that we all know and love or hate, depending on who you're with. Hopefully, we don't see any crazy scenes like that here today at the Division 1 Championship. But of course, I'm excited for the racing action. Now, we just had Division 2, and they had a fantastic race. Division 3 and Division 4 had a great race themselves, but of course, they were absolutely drenched in rain. So we didn't quite see much of any rain in Division 2. We'll see if it's going to be the case here in Division 1, but it's looking to be nice and sunny here as far as qualifying is concerned, as Eklund is leading the charge on his outlap. And of course, it's a full 20 driver grid. I'm super excited here for the Grand Prix. I can't stress that enough. But as Eklund is heading through just the final few corners, Jamie, I think I'm gonna let you do the honors if you're willing to take us through the flying lap here at Silverstone, if you'd like, of course.
Yep, I'll do it for you. So heading around the final two corners now, heading around the final corner fully flat out, starting your lap then on this international straight or Hamilton straight. Coming into the first corner, take it flat out, easy flat out on the second one as farm. Then coming down into turn 3, breaking the 50-meter board, filling it in, kiss the apex on the entry. Then you want to straighten up the car, brake here as well, late apex through here, get back on the power as quickly as you can, use a short shifted, which fully shifts. Coming around the hanger straight now, DRS, or Wellington straight, DRS wide open for this part as well. Plenty of opportunities to rotate, bring it onto the right, breaking the 50-meter board, just kiss the apex on the entry here. Then some drivers, depending on their style, like to take it out wide, and you want a short shift through here to get the best exit as you possibly can, braking traction, which he does do. Don't want a short shift there, but it's good enough coming through one cut here on the old pitch straight. Now we're heading through Cots, where we saw that controversial crash between Hamilton and Verstappen, fully flat out or a lift off. Some people like to downshift through there, depending on their confidence or bravery or style. Coming into Maggins and Beckett's fully flat out on the first two. Brilliant sequence of corners here, just lift off here. He takes it through 7th gear. I see a few people downshift. He double downshifts on the right hand side. Don't touch the curb on the entry through there. DRS open at 3.2, a decent middle sector for a starter off the lap for Eklund as he makes his way towards Stowe. Another brilliant place for action. So many overtakes here. Bring it out wide to the left, use all the curb on the exit. Now this Ferrari gets on the grass, so that's not going to help his flying lap. He needs to clear all that grass away before he starts the lap. But anyways, these corners, when they get absolutely spot on with the traction as well, can be very difficult. Makes his way across the line. It's a 26.8 for him.
Yep, so a very good lap from Eklund to kick things off on the soft tires here, as I don't think I could have done the lap better myself, if I'm being honest there. And you mentioned the Ferrari heading on the grass. That was actually the championship leader, Ariel Wouter, who we'll see if that's going to affect his first flying lap as he's taken it. Like I mentioned, Wouter leading the championship, 268 points so far. His main rival in the Aston Martin, Isaac Kush, currently occupying that provisional pole position with the 126.6 that he just put up on the board. But of course, a little bit of a gap to catch up in the championship. 202 points for Isaac Kush, with Carmentalis rounding out the top three. 193, 194 points. Definitely a big gap after that. It is a bit of a top-heavy championship here. XL Tin Can in 4th, only 114 points, but right behind him in 5th is Eklund with 113 points. So you can see you've definitely got that battle with the top 3, and then essentially the rest of the field following suit here. And of course, with times like that, times like he's at Kush setting, you can see why. And we've seen those top 3 just duke it out race after race. Now, as Wouter crosses the line there, as we were on board with them, P3, it's a 126.8. So I don't think that grass affected him too much. At least from what I saw with the lap, but it's still only 3rd fastest for him. Of course, still early stages in this qualifying. Now, I'm also noticing in terms of the tire choice, at least early on, most of the grid opting for a set of soft tires, but a couple, the likes of Total P's, Jerome, AJ Wuhan, Nathan, Jamian, and Knight here, who's reserving in Division 1 once again, opting for a set of medium tires. Now, I'm going to ask you this, Jamie, as we're trekking on here in qualifying. If you had the choice here, if you were in one of these cars, would you rather have that time? Would you rather try to start on the medium tires, or would you rather have that raw pace on the softs?
It's funny you say that, because last time I raced here in Silverstone, I took a completely different approach, which I was not expecting, not in the books, and not what I practiced. So I was on the medium tyres, same as Total P's. My best time was a 26.4, which would have been pole by now, but I don't know if I can repeat that because it was just a strong lap. But yeah, I don't know, to be honest with you. Like, the softs could go quite a long way. The one tyre you don't really want to use around here is hard compound tyres. You might want to, like, follow everyone else's strategy being on the softs, or that's a satisfying lap time from Total P's down in P5 on the mediums. Obviously, you can do more than one lap of them, but it says on this graphic he switched over to the soft, same as Jaruba's or so. I think it's going to be a normal situation where all the drivers will start on soft compound tyres. Not really a massive issue with tyre wear, but obviously with those mediums you can get as far up as the grid as Total P's has done in P5. You could go much longer on that strategy and go from mediums to softs. The strategy is a soft to medium or mediums to softs. The hards don't need to be used unless you like spun and have to come in for a set of hard compound tyres and take it to the end of the race, but safety cars do always play a factor because see a change of strategy from there.
Oh yeah, and that's the key, and it's something that we saw in the Division 2 Championship, that it was oh my goodness, I was just watching it and I completely forgot here, but he started on the medium tires, and that safety car came out in absolutely perfect timing to take that pit stop and put on the set of softs. Now, of course, if I had to go myself, I like to start on the quicker tire. I like to start on the soft tires and just try to push right off the gate. Try to gain as many positions as I can here, and then just pit for the mediums, and then worry about just racing deltas, racing the times, and damage controlling from there if need be. But of course, depending on how drivers feel in terms of like you were saying, the strategy they want to run, how they feel their pace is on each set of tires, and of course, if they feel if safety cars are going to play a factor, that could affect. But I think what we might see, and similarly to what we are seeing right now, a lot of drivers just gauging pace, gauging that first lap on the medium tires, just to see what they can do, where they can end up. And from there, just going to put on a set of soft tires to try to improve. Because, of course, really, other than Total P's, who's up in P5, the rest of the medium tire runners, they're all outside of the top 10. So why not just put on a set of soft tires and improve that qualifying position there? And I think that's exactly what we're going to be seeing, as I'm honestly, currently on board with Feral Fury, who's heading down the hangar straight. Approaching, I believe it's Stowe, as you very well reminded me with that on lap, Jamie. Don't mind me. I'll be honest, I won't know the corner names. I'm just gonna try to call them either the corner number or just that corner there. So you can yell at me if you want. But
I don't know the corner numbers. I know the corner names. The only corner numbers I know is Tier 1, Tier 2, and Tier 3.
Yeah, that's about it with the corner numbers. I mean, I know, let's see, Cops, Maggots, Beckett's, Chapel, Hanger Straight, and now Stowe. And I guess the Hamilton Straight now, as you reminded me. But Feral Fury up into P8 in that Red Bull on those soft tires. So pretty good lap time for him around the 127 flat. But I think as this qualifying is going to continue, from what I'm seeing, I really think that you're going to want to aim for a sub 127, maybe a mid to high 126 to end up near that top 10. Of course, still 7 minutes to go, and already that seems to be the case. So I think that's what we're aiming for. Total P's coming back on those soft tires. Look at that pace, a 126.4 for the Alfa Romeo driver. So he's really riding some confidence here around Silverstone, and showing a lot of pace there. And Drone as well with a 126.4 to his name too. So honestly, it's Jamie. I mean, you'll understand. Very reminiscent, a little bit of what we saw on Thursday at the Red Bull ring.
I'm sorry to say, rotation of smoke coming through the end of Luffield. Yeah, he's lit the car up on traction. He did invalidate his first lap when you're on board with Feral Fury, his teammate. He invalidated it. He could have set a 26.5 and be put into third place, but sadly he's ruined his second lap, so I think he should come into the pit lane and put on a brand new set of softs. I was keeping an eye on him because he was on course for a good lap time, but sadly he's spun out of Luffield. AJ's out, it says.
Yeah,
P17
and very
must have crashed.
And as you had that your reaction to rotation, I thought it was AJ that you had noticed, because I think it was essentially at the same time. It was through Cop's Corner that I saw that Ferrari just a little off track. So I do believe that it was through Cop's Corner that AJ Wan had that moment, maybe riding the curb a little bit too much, just unsettling the back end on the exit, as we've seen in the past, and as personally I know very well, a little bit too well if I'm being honest. But I think, unfortunately for AJ, that's the end of his qualifying, and with a relatively pedestrian 127.3, he's really going to have his work cut out for him here to try to gain a couple positions here off the start. We'll be starting from, at best, P17, but could be a little bit lower, with the likes of Rotation and Chapelelli still having yet to set lap times. And of course, we know the pace Chapelelli has, and with the struggles that we've seen from Rotation in Division 2, he was on the ball, so I think Rotation is also starting to come into his own. So as long as he can keep the keep the lap time clean and get something on the board, I think he's definitely going to be a driver to look out for here.
Indeed. I was on board with Calvin. He will be furious because he was 5 thousandths down across the line, so he just lost that time in that last sector. And XL Larkin, I think a new driver, I hadn't seen him in previous races. He's on a lap, he's coming through Stone now, he's improved slightly through the middle sector. I was on board with Walter as well, he's coming back into the pits, is Larkin, so he's not satisfied with that lap time. Walter has invalidated on his second run, so the Ferrari driver will have to come into the pits because he only fueled it up for one lap. So that's a set of tyres gone to the waste. Who else there? They've got majority of drivers in the pit lane. ISRL is out there somewhere. He's coming through sector 1. Let's see what his first sector is like. 2 tenths up in the first sector, making his way through Luffield. Now coming through Brooklyn, want to take it out wide. You could get a really good exit coming out here. Slingshot exit. Now coming through Woodcut here. Just a flat out corner. Old pitch straight, of course. Coming through Cops now, turn 2. I don't know what turn it is actually. It's not 2, I was thinking about MotoGP. But coming through Magnus and Beckett's now, fully flat out for the first 2 corners. You don't need to lift off whatsoever through here. Then through here, you just want to kiss the apex right the curve through there. You want to avoid this one on the entry because it will off balance, offset the car. Middle sector is 5 tenths improvement, so this is a good lap time. Where will this put him about P14? He needs to find more time in that last sector if he wants to improve and possibly get inside that top 10. Downshifted fifth gear, I can see a lot understeer through Knight's car as he went wide through Stowe, breaking up the 100 metre board now. Just want to slow it down, short shifting as well, get back on the power, brake traction, coming to the final corner. What lap time is this going to be? P8, so he found 2 tenths of that final sector, so that's a good lap time.
A great lap time from Knight brings him up into the top 10 here at a very crucial spot with 3 minutes and 20 seconds to go in this qualifying session. So crucially, for Knight, like I said, a good lap time. For the likes of Wouter that you were mentioning previously, did have that invalidation, but he should still have enough time to get one more lap in, but it's all going to rely on that final lap. Interestingly enough, Schiaparelli, no time on the board so far. He's running something a little bit different than what we're seeing. He's got a set of medium tires on, as he's looking to get a lap time on the board finally. It's a 29.6 if I saw that right in Sector 1. I'll be honest, I don't know where that's going to put him here.
Into the outlap.
No, Schiaparelli should be on a flying lap here. Well, not using any ERS now that I'm noticing it, so maybe running a second warm-up lap. Rotation, I think, is currently on a flying lap, so I'll stick with for now, I guess I'll stick with the Red Bull driver, unless somebody else is a little bit further ahead. But you're seeing the track is starting to get busy here, with qualifying ticking down, 2 minutes to go, and as we see time and time again here in Division 1, drivers really putting a lot of emphasis on their qualifying here, trying to be out on track at the last possible moment on at least a flying lap once the timer hits 0, when the track is in theory going to be at its quickest, once the maximum amount of rubber is on the track. So they can get that best possible lap time. But I'll stick with... Oh, what happened? Okay, Knight, I think, just retired in the pits, knowing he wasn't going to go around again. I thought that was somebody having an accident here. But yeah, Schiaparelli, definitely a banker lap there with a 34 flat. Rotation coming around the line, gets that lap time to stick this time around. It's a 26.8, and that puts him into the top 10 in P7. And knocks Knight down the 9th, and puts Wagner on that border here of the top 10, just on the inside looking in. But still, it's still anybody's to play for. Izad Kush sets a 126.2, and he goes provisional pole here as we're heading into the last minute of qualifying.
This lap time has to count, because I'm on board with Schiaparelli. His fuel light's already popped up, so he's only set the car for one lap only, so this has to count, otherwise he started down in P20 if he doesn't improve. So his middle sector now coming through Magnus and Beckett is a 3.1, not a bad middle sector despite being on the medium compound tyres. I'm not quite sure what people have to do, but coming around Stowe, they just flick it in. Oh, he's touched the curb and he's losing the rear, and he saved it, but that will cost him a lot of time. You can see the curb just offset the car there and just unsettled it. Now coming through the final 3 corners then. Traction's a big issue for him. Coming around the final corner, yep, definitely.
Oh, and I think that's... so he got the lap time in. It's a 27 flat for Schiaparelli, but crossed the line in style, I guess, so to say, as that pit crew is going to have a lot of work to get that car in shape to start of the Grand Prix. And I heard something about Eklund.
RJ.
Yeah,
RJ.
Where was that?
I was about to say Excel, but I realised his ball pulled up. So Excel RJ touched the curb on their way into Magnus and Beckett, so just lost the rear, they hit the wall. So that's his qualifying done, and he will start down in P17, sadly for him. Carmental is a big shocker down there. He's 4 tenths up in the middle sector though, so he is improving, but will this be enough? Because it's only 4 tenths, you need to find a huge back wall. It's so close to the field anyway, but can he find more time that final sector coming through Stone now? The AlphaTauri driver, I think he's 3rd or 5th in the championship. I know one of the AlphaTauris is 3rd or 5th, I think. His teammate, I think, is 5th, and he's 3rd.
Yeah, Carmentalist is in 3rd. We'll switch over to him now. Total P's in 2nd. Carmentalist, he gets the time to go up into P5, so a good time here. Immediately knocked down as Nathan sets a lap time to remember here. Brings himself up into a top 4.
Keep an eye on Giroud, mate. He's about 1.5 tenths quicker in that middle sector. Needs to get this final sector spot on. Makes his way towards the line. Is this going to be pole? Oh, it's so close.
It's close, but not close enough. As let's see, I think we've got XL Larkin about to cross the line here. Is he going to maybe go for it? No, he actually went slower on his final lap, so it will not be improving. Will remain in 6th. And for Wagner, he had an invalidated lap time, so That's going to do it. It came close on a few occasions, but it's going to be a familiar face of Isaac Kush, who's going to be starting from P1 on pole position here with the 126.231, 4/100ths of a second quicker than Jerome, who just missed out, but still gets a front row of the grid start here. With total Ps, Nathan JB occupying row 2 and Wouter rounding out the top 5. XL Larkin, Carmentalist, 6th, 7th, Mark, Calvin, and Eklund rounding out the top 10, all on the soft tires, and half a second essentially separating the top 10 and even heading down towards the top 14, all separated by, what was it, about 0.6 of a second, I think.
Good job for Bisa Kush there. Pole position critical for him as his main championship rival down in P5, Relentless Walter. Good stuff there from Jeroen Vizser to get himself in P2. I know he's got good pace around this track, and so is Tales of Peace as well. I think he qualified P3 there along with the second row, so hopefully this will turn out to be a good race with the main protagonist up front. And yeah, it's a dry race, so don't have to worry about the wet weather, so we can have a fantastic race here. We'll see DRS trains performing around here, but we'll definitely see some overtaking, because this track will provide good overtaking opportunities such as Brooklyn's, and you can go side by side all the way up to Cops. One of you eventually will have to make a decision whether to yield or not, otherwise you're both going together. Then another opportunity down at Stowe. If you get a good run at the final corner, get close to your opponent behind, you can always try it down at turn 1, turn 2 and turn 3. So yeah, this track is known for its good overtaking and good racing, so hopefully we'll see some of that.
Yep, here's to keeping my fingers crossed. Hopefully we do see some good racing, lots of overtaking here. I mean, you covered a lot of the main overtaking opportunities. Definitely going into Stowe down the hanger straight. But of course, it relies on getting a good exit out of Chapel, and when you're stuck in that DRS train, you're stuck in that dirty air. It can really make a difference. It can really affect you a lot more than you might think. Going through those the very tricky that left right of Maggots, Beckett's, and Chapel. So we'll have to see how that's all going to play out. And of course, like you mentioned, the exit of that final corner is going to be crucial for a lot of drivers, because that essentially makes the difference of pace all the way into turn 3. So definitely some places to keep an eye out for. But as we're heading down on the formation lap, I almost said the out lap here, I'll jump into the tires. You can see the top 10. They qualified on the soft tires, so all starting on the soft tires, but very much so a separation here between the top half of the grid and the bottom half of the grid. Everybody who had free choice of tires, well, they opted to go for the medium tires to start the race, except for XLRJ, who decided he wanted to go for the softs. So nobody taking that extra gamble from the back of the field on the hard tires, unsurprisingly, given how okay at best the hard tires are here around Silverstone. But we'll have to keep an eye out on XLRJ, I think, as he might be trying to charge up the field, gain a few positions early on off the start with those soft tires that have a little bit more grip, a little bit more pace in the early stages, but of course tend to fall off just a little bit quicker than those around them on the medium tires. So definitely something to keep an eye out, and I think I saw that very quickly. Jerome, I think, trying to do a little bit of visualization here to try to go for the overtake, as it looked like he shot a little bit deep going into Stowe on that formation lap. Maybe trying to play a little bit of mind games here with Isaac Kush, showing himself very clearly in his mirrors here for the start of the race. But as said, the grid is forming here for the 5 red lights. Any final thoughts before we start the race here?
I'm just hoping for a good race. Let's see if Jeroen Vizser can jump Isaac Kush down, or will Isaac Kush get Jeroen off the start? Let's see. Will they go side by side, head up into turn 3? We've seen that on multiple occasions, but Total P is down there in the prime position in P3 to try and jump on both. See what happens. Lead you to it.
Alright, so there we have it. The grid is formed up to 2 lights, 3 lights, 4 lights, 5 red lights. And the lights are off very quickly, and we are racing here in Silverstone. So it looks to be a very good start from Total P's, actually. Jerome taking the lead very early on as they head through into turn 1. Isaac Kush down into second. Wouter gaining a spot here. Larkin gaining a couple spots. Wouter and Total P. So what happened to Wouter? He spun. He's getting back on track, so not as bad as it could have been, but what looked to be a good start from the Ferrari driver ends in shambles here as he's way down the field. On board with Mark right now as he's right up on the back of Total P's, heads towards the outside, just out braking for now the Alfa Romeo as they're still side by side here heading through this corner, and as they're gonna charge down towards oh my goodness, Cop's corner.
Oh no, there's two spinners. Two spinners.
Chapelelli falling down the order as oh yeah, so Rotation and Chapelelli coming together, the former teammates. No love lost here for them as they're way down the order, but it looks like Mark ahead of Total P's through all of that. AJ Wuhan gaining many positions here from starting in 20th, already up into P14 as he's ahead of XLRJ. Total P's coming back at Mark, and Calvin now trying to come ahead. There's just battles everywhere on track. And oh no, that's Calvin who went for a spin in the Alpine as he's brought out the yellow flag. Carmentalist is spun around. Oh my goodness, it's all gone off here on lap 1. What happened to Carmentalist there?
I have no idea, mate. I just saw it in the background. I was on board with Total P's, but that was a crazy first lap. We see Isaac Kush getting jumped by Giroud Visser. Then they went 3 wide. Total P's, Nathan and Wouter. Wouter being on the outside, it's just 3-1 doesn't really go, so it's just like a race incident in my opinion. But that's sad for Wouter. Where is he? Down in P12, so not all lost. He's fighting with ISRL, well, not actually down there in P12. But yeah, crazy moves there. Giroud Visser, when Chapelele and Rotation came together, went off the track coming at Cops, so he might get an exceeded track limit awarded for that. So that's why Isaac Kush was all over the back of his. Giroud made a mistake, but that was good from Giroud Visser to get Isaac Kush early at the start. We've got a Foul Fury fighter with Eklund. He's trying to go down the inside. He's on the medium compound tyres, gaining 3 positions. He makes contact. You can see he came together with the understeer, but thankfully none of them got sent into a spin. Just a bit of a wheel-to-wheel action there. Wouter has got past his teammate. Here comes RJ on those soft compound tyres. Will he dare to go down the inside here? Yes, he will. He sends it. And will he go off the track? He does. Ooh. All 4 wheels off the track. Here comes Car Mentalist on AJ. One of them's going to have to back out because it's so hard to go side by side through him, but they're still going to do it anyway. Oh my goodness, look at that. And AJ has to exceed because Car Mentalist bravely did not give up and stayed in P12. AJ's all over off the track. And Tinker coming at him and overtaking it. That was interesting first 2 laps there. It's unbelievable how much action has happened so far in this race.
Yeah, you could see there as now very quickly Ariel Hack and Feral Fury continuing that battle as they went alongside. Feral Fury hanging on to that 8th position, but my goodness, that midfield battle all started with the 2 Ferraris battling amongst each other of Wouter and AJ Wuhan, essentially creating a bit of a roadblock and everybody else trying to get past afterwards. And honestly, it was hard to keep up here with the camera angles to try to give everybody the view of all those battles. But unfortunately for AJ Wuhan, he went off to the grass on the exit of Chapel and just lost out. That speed difference was enough to make him lose the position. Hack now coming back on Feral Fury, makes the move down the inside and gets ahead of the Red Bull driver. Well, through all that, though, I'm seeing Isaac Kush closing up to Jerome, who's leading this Grand Prix here in these early stages. So as I'm going to keep an eye out on the leaders as they're heading through Maggots, Beckett's, and into Chapel now, it should be Isaac Kush who should have DRS down at the hangar straight. So we'll see if he's able to gain enough to try to maybe retake the lead of the race. You see the rear wing flap is open. He's closing, but it doesn't look like it's gonna be enough. No, it wasn't, as Jerome lives to hang on to the lead for at least 1 more lap here. Total P's closed up a lot on Larkin, as now Wouter and Feral Fury exchange positions, as after that early spin, I gotta say, I guess 4 laps later, and Wouter already in a top 10 here, running in P9, and he's a man on a mission here as he's trying to charge up the field, regain some of those lost positions, and put himself back into contention here.
Shout out to CPI Wagner in P6 from P14, managed to avoid all of that chaos at the first 2 laps, and he's got himself into with he's got Eckler for company on those soft compound ties. He'll stick with him. And Total P has made the move down the inside into Brooklyn's ahead of Larkin. Critical move to get back where he started, because I believe he did have a terrible start. He got sandwiched in between Walter and Nathan, I believe, at the first lap, and now he's back into P3.
Oh no, and Knight and XLRJ had a little bit of a moment coming together. We saw Knight having a little bit of a tank slapper, but what we didn't quite see until it was too late was XLRJ having a little bit of a half spin there. Unfortunate for him is he was up a lot of positions from that start. Now he's going to have to regain a couple more of them. Feral Fury, unfortunately, continuing his descent down the order, was an 8th a couple laps ago. Now finds himself in 11th as Carmentalist got ahead of him. As Carmentalist really trying to go for a charge here. He's going to have to gain a few positions. Like I said, he's in 3rd in the championship. He's seeing Wouter ahead of him here. Is now XL Tin Can getting ahead of Knight. But Carmentalist, he's got Wouter ahead of him, but their main rivals, Izat Kush, still in 2nd, trying to get ahead of Jerome to retake the lead of the race here.
On that loud comments list, you said comments list of Power Fury had a fight. I was on board with that actually. Comments was all over the back of Power Fury. Actually forced him into an error. No contact was made, but Power Fury went wide, opened the door nicely for comments and just walked through and up into P10. He goes. And Giza Kush then all still over the back of Jerome Rizzo. What would he try to do? Because he's saving ERS, he's smartly doing it. He's just conserving his time, just biding his time, waiting for that right opportunity to overtake. But bearing in mind, Total Peas is definitely trying to hunt these two down to try and get inside that ERS range and try and pull away from Larkin down in P4. AJ at the fastest lap of a brand new set of softs. Eklund desperately needs to try and get past Magda because for his strategy, he needs to be ahead of him. Being on those soft compound tyres, being quicker at this stage, so it's crucial for him to get past him. We'll go on to the Maggots and Beckett style. Issa Kush following Jerome Rizzo coming to straight now. DRS wide open. I think he's using a bit of ERS now. Will he try to overtake him on this lap, or will he wait it out again? He's got the opportunity to do so. The overspeed closing in. Will he go down the inside? Nope, he just bides his time. Championship leader has picked up the 3-second time penalty. He's right behind Hat. Indeed, coming into Stone now, I believe. He's still behind Hack, so he hasn't got managed to get past him. But hopefully there's no side pod damage as well for Wilder as he made contact to that first corner. Might be affected his performance slightly, but let's see what he can do from there in P9.
Yeah, it's a bit of at least as far as we're concerned right now, it's a bit of a theme from the drivers. They're closing up down the hangar straight, but just unable to gain enough to truly make the overtake stick. But it's making for close racing action. But I think that DRS train that we were talking about is in full effect here for some of these drivers, as Wouter's still stuck behind Hacked and has Carmentalist for company behind him. Knight's been stuck behind XL Tin Can for a good portion of the final few laps. But now Wouter gets the move done. Of course, as soon as I take the camera off of him, he gets the overtake to get up into P8 and create a little bit of separation between he and Carmentalist. Isaac Kush, meanwhile, 0.2 of a second or 2.5 of a second behind Jerome once again. We'll see if he's going to have it this time around as they're making their way through Magnus and Beckett's. But you can see the dirty air, how much that's affecting Isaac Kush is back down to half a second. And I don't think it's going to be enough here as he's closing once again. But once again, just not enough to get the overtake done. XL Tin Can, a bit of a similar situation here as he's trying to gain an overtake Total P's, who are trying to close up. And Feral Fury falling down the order as he was caught in a battle. Knight getting ahead. XL Tin Can getting ahead, as well as XL Larkin in 4th. XL Tin Can down in 12th. As I got my XLs mixed up here. Apologies for that. But Knight up into 11th, Tin Can in 12th, and Feral Fury down in 13th, as those medium tires don't seem to be working as well as Feral Fury was hoping for, as he's making his way
down the inside.
Oh.
In fact, never mind. Isha Kush has got past Jerome Rizzo at Brooklyn, so he's finally made his move, and up into P1 he goes then, so Jerome Rizzo will have to do the same thing. But crucially, Total P's has not closed in on this battle for P1 and P2. He's actually dropped away from them 1.8 seconds now, so he has to watch out for Larkin still being there in the slipstream. He's using a lot of ERS to try and catch these two back up. It's very hard to do so around here. You want to be in the slipstream, and with that helping Giroud aid him to get away from Total P's, it's just be more difficult, and he has to watch out for Larkin behind. Yeah, I saw that battle with Fatal Fury, Tinkan and Knight. Fatal Fury could do absolutely nothing about it. He was just sandwiched on the straight. Both of them got past him on the straight, and Knight eventually got past Tinkan. A bit of contact was made into Vale the last 3 corners, but thankfully he didn't spin. Eklund has finally got past Magda, like I was talking about earlier on in this race, being on the soft compound tires. You would have thought he'd be quicker at this stage, being so early in the race. And Calvin has got past Foul Fury, tried it the lap before. Commented to the Malta are in the pit lane, lap 8 of the race.
Yeah, so we're starting to see some of these soft tire runners take their scheduled pit stops. Wouter and Carmentalist maybe feeling like they're not gaining as much as they would have liked on those softs, so taking a bit of an undercut. We'll see what they decide to go for. I would think a set of medium tires here to try to go to the end of the race. That is exactly what they're going to be doing. They're coming out at least now around, looks to be possibly 14th and 15th place. But we'll see if the undercut and having that clean air is going to work for them. Unfortunately, though, I just noticed Wagner, I think, might have a little bit of connection issues as he left the session. So hopefully that can get resolved sooner rather than later. Because, of course, being in AI mode really does not help your case here with the skill that these drivers here in Division 1 have. You're essentially becoming a sitting duck. And I think I just saw him join back in, so thankfully...
Oh, it is retired in the pit lane. Giroud Vizza went off the track for the second time just on this lap, so he has to be careful. I think he picked up a warning for that one, so any more warnings for him, he could find himself picking up a penalty. He's got to be really careful. That's the second time I've seen him do that in this race, going wide at Cops. He was leading the race, and now he's done it when he's behind Isaac Kush. He's got to be really, really careful as the timing screen has disappeared, but Larkin is in the pit lane trying to do an undercut, as Eklund is in the pit lane as well to join him. We've got a few more softwooders in there too. And Calvin is in the pit lane as well. So a few softwooders pitted. I think these guys might have to consider a pit stop soon. Definitely Total P's, as he needs to, in the battle with Larkin, as he would try to undercut him for P3.
Yep, and while you're mentioning that, we saw XL Tin Can get an overtake done on ISRL Knight. Knight tried to come back on the exit of the corner, but unfortunately was not quite able to get that done, so will remain in P8 for the time being, as they're both on the medium tires looking to go a little bit longer. Jerome is still right along the back of Isaac Kush, but the roles are essentially reversed, as Isaac Kush leading, Jerome trying to close up, but I don't think he's going to go for it through Cop's corner, but right up on the back, a 1/10.5 of a second behind here. But once again, as they head through Maggots, Beckett's, and Chapel, it's crucial for Jerome to keep a reasonable gap. It's 0.3 of a second, so could be close enough here with a nice exit. And you can see the difference with DRS. Down the inside he goes, and well before Stowe gets the overtake done. So Jerome Visser back in the lead of this race as Isaac Kush fake out into the pits. Jerome, though, commits to taking that pit stop as very quickly Isaac Kush retakes the lead of the race, trying to go for a little bit more of an overcut here. Total P's also staying out, but other than that, every other soft tire runner has taken their scheduled pit stop to put on a set of medium tires and try to go to the end of this Grand Prix.
The more Total P stays out here, the more it'll allow Larkin to undercut him, because Larkin's got a nice clean air ahead of him, so he can try and push as hard as he can and do that undercut on Total P's, because Total P's is running out of battery. It's a massive struggle to save it around it, unless you're behind somebody that can use them to save it. But that was a late call for Giroud Vizza. I think he was doing the opposite of Isaac Kush, because Isaac Kush looked like he was going to dive in the pits, but no, Giroud Vizza came in at the very last moment. Carmental sets the fastest lap of this race on those medium compound tyres, so we'll see what happens. Giroud Vizza rejoins in clear air, so I think it's time for Isaac Kush to come to the pit lane, and let's see if he's done enough on his in lap.
Yep, so clean air for Jerome, and very crucially, when he looks behind him, he's got a little bit of comfort knowing he's got his Mercedes teammate of XL Larkin who's behind him. So there's going to be some pushing, but I think they're both well aware of their positions here in this race to try to not get in each other's way if it does happen here.
He stays out.
Yeah, so Isaac Kush staying out, really looking to extend on those soft tires. possibly using that clean air to his advantage. A yellow flag, though, as that looks to be Calvin, who's in the grass heading back on track, and I think just got a little bit too quick on the power on the exit of that, I guess, the double apex right-hander before the old pit straight. So he's down in 17th with a little bit of grass on his tires. You can see really struggling with those cars, trying to get that grass off those tires. Total P's, he takes his pit stop, so he's put on a fresh set of medium tires. So and then there were one who are running on their initial set of soft tires, and it is Isat Kush. So we'll see if that's going to benefit him.
It's gonna be close. Look at these two. They're so close. The Total Peace rejoins. Will he go down the inside? No. But he will have DRS. He needs to warm those tyres up though, so he can't be optimistic on the throttle coming out of here, as the tyres will not be up to fully raised temperature. But this is lovely for Total Peace now. He's right behind Larkin and can get past him using the DRS and the support of ERS as well. And easy move. Somebody's just retired in the pit, and that's Calvin.
That was Calvin. Yeah.
I bet Isa Kush was nervous there, or a little bit excited there when he saw the yellow flag come out, hoping for a safety car, because that'd be a perfect timing if the safety car came out for him. But no, he'll have to let's see if he comes into pits this lap, because the longer he stays out, easier for Jerubis will be able to undercut. But he's into pit lane this lap.
Yep, so he is finally going to take his pit stop from the lead of the race. Let's see. We'll head over to Jerome, meanwhile, who's just coming through Chapel now, heading down the hangar straight, so it's going to be close. Of course, it is a very slow pit lane speed here in Silverstone, so we'll have to keep an eye out on this. It's going to be a lot closer than what it looks like between these two drivers. But as I think he's got the tires on now, does Isat Kush? So it's all going to come down to where he's going to end up on the exit. Oh, it's really going to be interesting, as Jerome just heading down the start-finish straight through into turn one now, and the undercut does work for Jerome as he gets out well ahead of Isat Kush, and crucially it's a nearly a full second gap here between Jerome and Isat after it's all said and done with these pit stops. So the undercut didn't quite work too well for the Aston Martin driver, but of course he's on slightly fresher tires, so has the opportunity to maybe push a little bit more or have the slightly better tires near the end of this Grand Prix, when I guess when the overtake could matter just a little bit more here.
Yep. It's not too bad for Isa Kush there, only a second up, and obviously you can close that in using the slipstream as well, so just needs to warm these tyres up, get familiar with it, and see what he can do from here on in. As you said, the fresher tyres, 2 laps younger, so I say that's his advantage. Mark gets a 3-second time penalty down there in P10. He's behind Larkin, but Larkin's still in the DRS range of Total P's. It looks like it's going to be a scrap between those two. Meanwhile, up front, it looks all calm for Wagner. In P1, he did leave the session, so lost a little bit of time, but hopefully he can get his head down. He's just set his fastest lap of the race, so he's definitely pushing there on those medium tyres. He's just waiting to go to the softs later on in the race. Same with Hacked, Tin Can, and ISRL Knight, Paul Fury, who's the last of those medium starter runners.
Yeah, but I mean, Feral Fury in one of the worst I guess the worst situation of them, the last of the runners who started on the medium tires. A little bit of a gap between himself and Knight, between P4 and P5, but I'm sure Feral Fury can try to use that clean air to his advantage, knowing he's not going to have to struggle in the dirty air, the likes of which we're seeing Knight with XL Tin Can, where these two drivers, they've been at each other for the entirety of the race so far. Fitting that it's continuing on here between the Haas driver and the McLaren driver. But of course, we've got a lot of quick runners right behind them on the fresher tires. Jerome in 6th, only 3 seconds behind Feral Fury. Isat Kush very close behind, and I'm noticing a little bit further down the field, Nathan JB, AJ Wuhan having a little bit of a tussle amongst themselves. AJ on 9-lap old soft tires, so he took that pit stop a little bit earlier on, working the softs. He's going to have to pit again for the first set of mediums. Knight getting ahead of XL Tin Can, as I just noticed that down the hangar straight into Stowe. So once again, these two drivers exchanging positions, but XL Tin Can right up behind the right up on that rear diffuser of the Haas driver, who had a bit of a moment on the on that final corner, riding the curb just a little bit too much, just unsettling the car, and you can see right right up behind him now is XL Tin Can. Is he gonna try it into turn 3? Not quite, but a little bit of a lockup from the Haas driver as well into that braking zone. So maybe down with the help of DRS if he can gain enough. But Knight absolutely nailing the exit of that corner. So I think he's going to be safe for another day in that P3 position.
Meanwhile, AJ got past his brother Nathan JB, so I'll always love it when these two brothers come to fight the track. You would have thought Nathan would be quicker than AJ because of the tyre diff, 10 lap odds off. They should be coming to an end of their life, so Nathan should be much quicker compared to AJ. But yeah, nice battle between ISRL Knight and Tin Can. Knight had a bit of a moment at the final corner, as you said, allowed Tin Can to close right in on him. I think Valfiori just had a moment off the track there. He's just got back on safely. But crucially now, Jeroen Visser is in the DRS range of Valfiori. This will help him for at least one lap if he does get past Val. Always got a bit wide on the grass there, but I thought he would go off the grass completely, go off the track completely. But here comes Jeroen Visser using the DRS on Valfiori, going around the outside. I don't think he putting up a fight. Is Valfiori not letting it go easily? And Tin Can is in the pit lane to do the undercut on ISRL Knight. I thought Valfiori would hit the back of Jeroen Visser there. Very close. That would have made Jeroen Visser absolutely frustrated knowing that Valfiori is not in his race. ISRL Kush, meanwhile, has to get past Valfiori. How long will it take for him to get past it? Because he don't want to be stuck behind him and lose that DRS range to Jeroen Visser. We'll have DRS behind Valfiori. I think Valfiori will have DRS behind Jeroen Visser as well. So it has to make this overtake into Brooklands, get a really good exit with the tyre advantage. DRS, ERS as well, and also Valfiori has DRS for good measure. Goes to the inside. I don't think he'll use his DRS to put up much of a fight as XL RJ picks up a 5-second tyre penalty for speed in the pit lane down in P17, not going his way so far, whereas his teammate is in the battle for the lead with Jeroen Visser. Who do you think is going to win this race, Eric? Is it going to be Isha or Jeroen, or could it be anybody else?
Honestly, it's a bit of a toss-up here. I really don't like making predictions because the commentator's curse is a real thing, especially when it comes to me. So I'm gonna let the racers race, and I'll say the race winner is going to win the race. That's gonna be my cop-out answer here.
You say that every single weekend. I can't get the different answer out of you, but fair enough, mate. I respect that answer. But if I was going to make a bet, I don't know actually, I'd probably say ISRL Kush with the tyre advantage. If he plays it smartly towards the end, he's in a championship fight with Walter obviously, and if he does win this race, he'll gain a massive advantage on Walter. Walter 2.8 seconds behind Eklund, so it's not really making an impact, so must have picked up a bit of damage. ISRL Knight is in the pit lane, bearing in mind his rival XL Tin Can did pit on a brand new set of softs. He's behind Nathan behind AJ, so on a brand new set of tyres he goes. Will he rejoin ahead of Tin Can? Tin Can is in a battle with Nathan and AJ, so he'll get held up by them slightly as they make their way around the final corner. Does AJ, Nathan and Tin Can. Nathan right behind his brother. Where does ISRL Knight slot into this? There he comes out the pit lane. Is he going to be close? Yes, he's going to be close. And Tin Can will take the position away from Knight. Total Peas gets ahead of Valfiori. That puts the car between himself and Larkin. And Larkin lost a bit of time behind Total Peas. He's about 2.8 seconds behind Total Peas. He was in his DRS range, so I wonder if he made a slight mistake behind him. But here comes Nathan on his brother. Will he get past him into Brooklands? No. Most crucially out front, ISRL Kush is about 3/10 behind Jeroen Visser. And those two on the soft compound tyres, ISRL Knight and XL Tin Can, you expect them to be much quicker at this stage to the two in front of him. But ISRL Kush then, ready to set Jeroen Visser up on the straight with DRS open yet again, coming on to the Wellington straight. Wagner is in the pit lane for his first pit stop. Here he comes. He backs out. You can see him lifting off the throttle. Yeah. He does not want to overtake him.
Yeah, a little bit of an interesting call here from ISRL Kush. I thought he would have had the pace to get the overtake done, but I think maybe I don't want to say playing that chess match here, but we are down to less than 10 laps to go already in this Grand Prix. That's absolutely flown by as Wagner coming out on the soft tires. I think. I think maybe ISRL Kush might have felt that he wasn't going to get the overtake done cleanly, and rather than fighting Jeroen, just lift up, back out, and go for it. Maybe next lap or in the next opportunity here. But I'm really not too sure why that was the case. If I'm being honest, I can only speculate here. As now Hacked is leading, but still has to take his pit stop. But he's got a nice 10-second gap between himself and Jerome. Mark, meanwhile, getting ahead of Larkin as they're having a little bit of a battle as they're alongside. But the outside line really not working too well for Larkin through that corner section as Mark hangs on to P5, and very crucially for Total P's. There's still that car between himself and Larkin, and I feel like you might have seen something there that I might have missed.
Interesting fight going on between Tinkan, ISRL, Nathan and AJ. Obviously those two behind on the soft compound tyres, they made a bit of contact into Brooklyn. Tinkan hit the side of Nathan, forced him wide off track, made a bit of contact coming out of Brooke Luffield as well, and all four of them now together headed on the straight. Barely a second separates them as Hacked is in the pit lane, then he's fighting with ISO Knight and Tinkan and possibly Wagner. And there they are then on the straight. Nathan with his DRS wide open, bit of contact's made. They'll get their overspeed on AJ. Obviously Tinkan wants to overtake him because he's on the freshest set of softs. He's going to go 3 wide, I don't think. No, he's
Oh no, and that's AJ that's spun!
I knew something was happening like that because they were all committed into one corner. And Nathan, this time it's Nathan, Tinkan and ISO9. AJ, the leading car, got caught up in an accident between Tinkan and Nathan. Tinkan should be much quicker now because Nathan has not got DRS. AJ's retired in the pit lane, so no safety car there, but Tinkan then should easily pass Nathan on those medium compound tyres, and Isa Kush is yet again behind Jerufus to surviving that time around.
But very crucially, Knight and XL Tin Can going alongside into turn 3 and turn 4. So giving Nathan a little bit of a gift, and there's a little bit of contact. That's XL Tin Can. That's a half spun going around the exit of that corner. I don't think there was any wrongdoing. And yeah, now Knight going down the inside of Nathan JB, trying to stick it. Now that turns into the outside. Nathan able to hang on. It looks like that inside line through that the double apex corners, I'll call it, seems to be the optimal line to take. But now as they head through to Cops, Nathan remaining in P11 for now. Yep, Isaac Kush in first, and Larkin now finally getting ahead of Mark and making the overtake stick. But you feel like the damage might already be done with, Mark taking a 3-second time penalty there in the process, as we just saw. But more to the point that Total P's has a 5.3 second gap now to XL Larkin. So unfortunately, Larkin being unable to get by Mark, having to stuck and battle the Williams driver, really gave Total P's that much more of an advantage here. As he's now comfortably in third and trying to close up to the front two runners. And to be fair, Total P is only 1.2 seconds behind. So if he can just push a little bit more here, he might be able to just find his way into DRS. Albeit Total P's not much battery, not much ERS to work with here in the tank. Compared to the likes of Jerome and Isaac Kush, who have nearly a full tank of battery to themselves to work with here. So Total P's not at much of an advantage, but still having a good race so far.
Down the inside goes Mark, and he spun. Mark tried it down the inside, and there was no room, and he spun. I think that was an optimistic move. I think he should have waited on the straight because he was right behind XL Larkin. I was just on board with it. That's a shame for Mark. But keep an eye on this guy in P6, Wagner. Jerufus has got past yet again to retake the lead of this race ahead of Isa Kush. But I was going to mention Larkin. He's 6.1 seconds behind Total P. He was right behind him or ahead of him. Coming out of the pit lane. Wagner is ahead of Eklund. So I'm interested in how Larkin lost that pace unless Total P's pulled something out the back here because he is in DRS range. Now what Total P's needs to do is try and save some ERS ready for the attack on Isha or Giroud. Because he's low on ERS, so he's going to save it now once he gets to that DRS range. But Mark's out of the race. He retired in the pit lane. Walter backs out. Mentalist went through on him and he actually backed out before turn 1. So Walter down in P8, he's got a 3-second time penalty to his name as well. So this race has not gone well at all for our championship leader in P8. But Wagner, man on the move here, he's 4.2 seconds behind Larkin. Could potentially take P4 away from him. What a drive for Wagner starting down in P14. I mentioned it much. It did leave the session, so it did lose quite a lot of time as well. But fought his way back up to P5 and a potential P4 as he's closing on Larkin with 6 laps to go. So good drive from him, getting past those guys down there.
Yeah, it's been a very good drive from Wagner, and as he's in P5, trying to close up to Larkin, he does have the two Alpha Tauris right behind him there. Eklund, who's less than a second behind, albeit he is on those medium tires, slightly more worn medium tires. So I think Wagner still had a bit of an advantage on the fresher set. Isaac Kush now down the hangar straight, came close to Jerome, but just was not able to get the overtake done here on lap 20, as these two have just been battling it out between each other for the entirety of the race, and it really just seems to be a toss-up between these two who can get the overtake done. And through all that, with their battling, Total P's, that gap has closed up to a little over half a second, 6/10 now, as he's trying to bring himself into this battle too. Maybe as a sleeper call here, try to catch one or both of these drivers napping, as they might be tunnel vision on battling themselves here for that win.
Yeah, did you see that in the background at Stowe with Total P's?
I don't know if I saw that.
Yeah,
I might have missed it.
He went wide, and sadly for him, he's picked up his second warning of the race. One more warning, that'll give him a penalty. So he's going to be really, really careful now in terms of warnings. Same as Jeroen Visser, really. So I don't know about Isa Kush's situation, but he's right behind Jeroen Visser now. So we might see another change of leadership, being 2 turns behind, coming into Magnus and Becker's got some action going down there with RJ and Tinkan fighting for P14. RJ's got himself up into P14 ahead of Tinkan. And Tinkan's on a brand new set of softs compared to RJ, so he should be quicker at this stage. Back on the straight though, Isa Kush pulling to the right there to get out of the turbulent air of Jeroen Visser, which is not much of a problem like it was, let's say, back in 2020 or 2019 when the engine would overheat. But obviously you're in standard throughout the whole race, so it shouldn't be much of a problem unless he's just trying to make sure to ensure that Jeroen Visser is in his mirrors, to try and put him under pressure, make Jeroen Visser use all that battery vulnerable for the next upcoming laps. But Total P is there now. He's in the DRS range. Gotta say, what a good performance for Total P. He did drop out a bit at the early part of the race, but he's brought himself back in contention and pulled away from Larkin's spot, 8 seconds behind Total P's now. So Total P is fantastic stunning drive. Could he potentially win this race?
There is a possibility here, albeit his ERS is still at a bit of a disadvantage compared to the top two that are ahead. But at least in this stage of the race here, with the laps dwindling down, 4 laps to go, ERS or not, he's been really showing a lot of pace, closing up well into DRS range now. And as far as these top two are concerned, given that it's now essentially a 3-car battle, it might put a little bit of a wrench into the initial plans here of maybe the strategy of these top two, thinking that it might have just been a 2-car battle rather than a 3-car battle. But as they're making through once again through Maggots, Beckett's, and Chapel, heading down the hangar straight, it's Jerome that leads. Isaac Kush just using a tiny little bit of battery, trying to break the toe here, I think, or as he's closing up to Jerome, a little bit of weaving, but you got to think how much of it is trying to stay out of Jerome's dirty air, compared to maybe trying to break some toe from Total P's, who's behind and trying to close up here to try to not allow him to try to overtake one or both of these cars.
Yep, good ERS management from Total P's as well. He's now saving the ERS as he's behind these two, as it's much easier to save ERS behind another car, so he's learned that as well, as he used a lot of it to try and close on these two, and it's worth it as well because he's saved quite a bit now as he's got into contention with these two. Isa Kush, Michael, I think he's trying to put Jeroen Visser off put there, because trying to force it into an error, knowing that he's there, trying to distract him in every way, shape or form. The arrows behind the car is just moving left to right, so he's trying to distract him as much as he can, make him use that ERS, try and force him to a mistake, but Jeroen Visser's not falling for that. All he needs to do is just get his head down and concentrate. Look at that, they're so close together, the Aston Martin and the Mercedes, and Total P's there as well. So who's going to be? Jeroen, Isa, or Total? We're going to wait 3 laps time, but Isa Kush is all over the back of Jeroen Visser as they make their way into Magnus and Beckett's yet again. You can see Isa Kush taking different lines through there, trying to set him up onto this straight. Total P is closing it as well. He's quite handy there through Magnus and Beckett's. Is this the moment where Isa makes an overtake?
Looks
you can't
like
afford to
it.
drop,
Looks
can't
he had a
afford to
lot
drop
of
back anymore.
Yeah, you used a lot more ERS this time around and does get the overtake done, does Isaac Kush. So he's up in the lead of the race. Now Jerome in second, and he gets to feel the added pressure of trying to attack while defending Total P's. So a little bit of a more uncharted territory for Jerome, as Isaac Kush sets the fastest lap of the Grand Prix on that last lap.
Wow.
Just as a little bit of an added bonus for him here, with essentially 2-3 laps to go, hanging on to that fastest lap and possibly that extra point in the Drivers' Championship. Very crucial here, especially with Wouter. He's been quiet, but just down in 8th position, and really just hasn't had a race to remember. Had a good instant recovery after that spin, but just unable to close up more in these latter phases of the race. But on board with Total P's now, as I'm just watching these 3 cars. Zat Kush, the gap is now 0.6 of a second. As Wagner taking a 3-second time penalty. That'll be added to his time, and looking at the gaps between P5 and P7, not ideal to take here for the Williams driver.
Onto straight yet again we come. Chiruba's slightly behind, he's 6/10 behind, he's more vulnerable to P's than he is to tracking Isa Kush. Yeah, Isa Kush couldn't afford to drop off anymore, because if he did, Total P's will all over the back of him. Trying to get my words out there.
Yeah, and you can see the crucially here, as we're just about ready to start the penultimate lap, the ERS situation, what looked to be at a prime advantage to the top 2. Yeah, and Isaac Kush, well, that's another fastest lap of the Grand Prix. So I think Isaac Kush, he timed his move and worked it with the ERS, and now he's just going to be pushing for the last few laps. Go as quick as he possibly can, and try to make sure that Jerome can't fight back, and maybe use Total P's to his advantage to try to maybe have Total P's and Jerome have a little bit of a battle amongst themselves. But the ERS now is a lot more even compared to what it was just a few laps ago between these 3 drivers. So, I mean, it's been a great drive for the last few laps from Total P's. Meanwhile, Wagner, he got that 3-second time penalty, but I think he's now possibly using that as motivation. Gets ahead of Larkin on track, and with those soft tires, using a lot of battery himself, as he's going to try to push over the last few laps to limit the damage that 3-second time penalty is going to give him. But I think for now, given how close to the end we are, all eyes are on this battle here between the top 3. Here comes Jerome. He's going to go for it down the inside with DRS. Gets the overtake done. So Jerome Visser now leading the Grand Prix here, as we've got a few corners to go, and we start the final lap of the British Grand Prix here in Silverstone. And once again, does Isaac Kush have enough in the tank now, as Jerome now sets the fastest lap of the Grand Prix? We're exchanging positions, exchanging fastest laps, and it looks like it's all going to come down to lap 26 out of 26. And keep in mind, Total P still lurking in the shadows, just hasn't been able to find that opportunity to go for the overtake. But with time running out, we might start seeing a bit more urgency from Total P's in third, and of course some Isaac Kush in second, as he's might just want to make the move here. But of course, I think it's going to come down to the hanger straight. I think that's going to be what'll decide the outcome of the race. Only fitting, as it's been that case through the entirety of the afternoon or the evening, depending on where you are. But we'll see how it all plays out as they head around Cops. 3 cars, essentially you can throw a blanket on top of these 3, as it's been for the entirety of the race. But for now, it's Jerome leading. But as they head on the exit of the chapel, down the hanger straight, let's go. Who's gonna take it?
Here comes Isaac Kush's last chance to get past Chirubaza. Chirubaza covers the middle of the track, the perfect position of the car. He might, if he doesn't make a mistake from here on in, if Isaac Kush don't go down the inside here, he's too far back to do that anyway. Chirubaza will come around the final 2 corners now. Isaac Kush gonna, he's almost lost the car. But anyways, Chirubaza comes around the final corner to win the British Grand Prix ahead of Isaac Kush. Total P's and P3, what a race between those 3 there. Total P's caught up to them, but sadly couldn't do anything about it, being stuck in P3. Here comes Larkin, got past Wagner at the last stage of the race. In P4 he finishes, Wagner will drop down to P7. Comments on this excellent. P5 and P6, good result for the AlphaTauri drivers there. Wouter finished in P8, that's a massive loss of points. in terms of the championship there for Walter. Here comes Nathan. Nathan takes P10 away from ISRL due to penalties, but what a race that was. I thoroughly enjoyed that between the top two, going at it every single lap. But in the end, Chiruvaza won the race despite Isa Kush playing his games.
Yeah, and that was a fantastic race up front, but I just noticed this here right at the end of the race. So 26 laps was this Grand Prix. Nathan JB, he brought his medium tires 24 laps, so he pit on at the end of lap 2 and made those medium tires last a long time.
Still racing, heck.
Oh my goodness!
To go down the inside of Tinkan. Last three cars to cross the finish line. Down the inside he goes. Valfiore gets squeezed out wide. The side by side now. Valfiore gets around the outside. It's so close on the line.
Who got the spot?
Tinkan just got ahead of him. They were still racing despite everybody crossing the line, but that was good action between those guys down there. I think Tinkan just might nit it away from Valfiore, but good racing nonetheless. Side by side. Wow, fantastic. Even at the last three. Cars,
right down to the end there, caught racing, and I was talking about maybe drivers getting caught napping, but it looks like at the end of the day, it was myself in the commentator's booth who was caught napping at the end of it, but caught that side-by-side battle right at the end, and oh my goodness, what a great way to finish the race there, both at the front, in the middle of the field, and of course that battle right at the end, almost a photo finish there between the likes of Feral Fury and I think it was the McLaren. What was that, Tin Can that was with them, or? Oh no, I don't even think we're gonna get the results here. As similar to what happened in Division 2, I'm getting a black screen and a countdown timer here. So do you have the results on your end, or are you seeing a little something similar?
I've got the results. I'll screenshot them if you want me to, mate.
All right. Yeah, sure. If you're willing to screenshot them, that would be that'd be great, because I'm not getting anything. But my oh my, what a race that was! Really kept us on the edge there. But at the end of the day, it was just a fantastic drive from everybody. We'll see if the podium interviews want to jump into the party, so we can get a little bit of a thought from them here. Given I am just in the general party, comms party, I should say. I think most of these drivers should already have an invite here, so I'll jump into the showroom in the meantime, just as we'll see if they want to jump in, but they might just be having to take a breather after that one. So close between Jerome, he's at Kush, and Total Peas there. But a great way to round off the what was already a great day of racing action, both in real life and here in the virtual world, in here for ISRL Esports. But Jamie, what are your thoughts there?
On the real life race or ISRL Esports?
We'll say ISRL Esports here, since that's the race we just finished. We don't want to spoil.
Just in case anybody hasn't watched it. But that was fantastic. This is what I love to see in league racing, with drivers going at it throughout the whole 26 lap, the midfield, the guys at the top, the guys at the end. Nevertheless, it was a fantastic race. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I hope we get more like that. This is what Silverstone always provides. Like, I've always, ever since I've been commentating here or anywhere else at Silverstone, it's always provided so much good action all the way down to the end of the race, all 26 laps race, no matter if it's dry, wet, or wet comparing it to dry, or dry going into wet. It's just been fantastic. So I'm really happy that I got to witness a fantastic race yet again alongside you, Eric.
Oh yeah, and I mean, thank you for joining me once again in the commentator's booth. And you said it best yourself. Really, I feel there's three things in life that are guaranteed right now: death, taxes, and a fantastic race at Silverstone. And we definitely got that here today, as it always tends to be the case. But I was really happy to have you here in the booth with me, and I mean, thank you so much for joining. I'm just
My
giving it
pleasure.
a little bit here to see if we'll get any drivers jumping into the post race interviews. I mean, I guess in the meantime, I'll get that the final little bit of housekeeping here. Of course. I got you got to thank the sponsors, right? We've got Advanced Sim Racing, IFEA. Thank you so much for your sponsorship. Thank you for helping us do what we do. Of course, the fans, as I say every week, this is why we do what we do. So thank you for your constant support. And honestly, races like this, it's all for you guys. So thank you so much. I mean, I hope you all enjoyed the race as much as we did here in the booth. But I don't know if we're getting any post race interviews here this week. I think they might all just be too hyped, enjoying that champagne a little bit too much to get some thoughts.
Yep, indeed. They deserve it as well, those guys. I bet Issa Kush he should be happy because he gained a lot of points on his championship rival Balta. So he should be a little bit happy. He's finishing in P2. He tried his best, of course, but Javuba did it better. In terms of P's being there in P3 as well, so I'm very happy for him, because he dropped away from the start of the race a bit, but after that second pit stop, he was flying, using all of his EOS to try and close in on those guys, getting away from his rival, and he managed to break a DRS and pull away from him as he managed to get into the top 3. He couldn't do anything about it because BP3 anywhere in the DRS trade is so difficult because you always guarantee the top 2 to just fight it out, and you're just sat there in P3 like, what the hell am I going to do? How can I do? No matter how much EOS I use, I just can't get past these 2 guys. You've got to stay in P3 and hope something happens, which it didn't. We just had some clean races, good battles. There's nothing he could do to Total P's other than just sit and watch the action like us.
Yep, but I mean, for the likes of both Total P's and Jerome Visser, it's a solid haul of points here to help improve their championship rankings here, as we're really down to the nitty gritty now into the back half of the season. Closer to the end than we are the beginning, and every point really counts that much more now. And even for Izat Kush being 66 points behind his main championship rival, snagging that good haul of points himself is really going to help close that gap and make things all that much more interesting, all that much spicier here as the season, like I said, is slowly coming to a close here. But speaking of coming to a close, I think that's gonna do it here for the stream here today. So ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for watching. I do hope you enjoyed the race as much as we did in the commentators booth. Jamie, once again, thank you so much for joining me in the booth. It was great to have you here once again, and I mean, thank you so much here. But
What a great duo.
oh yeah, no kidding. But on behalf of myself, Jamie, and everybody here at ISRL Esports, I do want to say thank you so much for watching. We will see you all next week when we take to Monza for the Italian Grand Prix. But until then, thank you so much and have yourselves a fantastic day or evening.